Oh, welcome back.
I think so long as people stay in the box, everything works out.
If you could just be ooh, that creepy guy just hitting on me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go any further.
Yeah, if it stays there, everything's cool.
Because you got to be acceptable about, someone saying hi to you, and then also someone getting a little bit further. Like, I'd like to buy you
because if we
dinner.
don't do that, then we're back into are we Talibans now? Now there's got to be a formal hello. May I introduce myself? Are you open to a relationship kind of thing? I mean, how does one meet people exactly?
At that point,
right.
It looks strange doing that.
You see what I'm saying? So we complain about arranged marriages, yet we want most of the transactional costs of meeting people eliminated.
Yeah, and it's fun when it's spontaneous and you're doing that, because even some people draw the line that, like, I don't want to go on those dating sites. I must be fucking. It's like, yes, you are desperate for freak, like my old coworker. Yeah. I ain't going on there. I'm going out with like a fucking, that Kate. His whole thing was Kate Upton was possible. Yeah, I mean, but this is what's his name?
Are we talking about that dude you used to work with?
Yeah, he's the cool guy, but he was he was raised by all his sisters and his mother and his aunt. He's every 3 years he might get hooked up a little bit. Cool guy though.
Oh man,
cool guy.
I'm glad I'm married. I'm glad I'm old. I feel sorry for my kids.
But they seem normal enough where eventually, even if they don't even try to get someone, if that's what you're talking about, companionship of the opposite sex.
Yeah. I mean, look, bottom line is they're normal looking kids.
Let me ask you a question. Your sons or our Japanese guy, the one I went to school with, because he's still single, dude. What's his problem? I'm always thinking about George. Why doesn't he get hooked up or anything like that?
I think he just doesn't want to. Look, to be perfectly honest, if I didn't have the desire to procreate, I would have never gotten married. Okay? It's...
You can just exist without that whole legal schmeagle paper thing.
Right. But...
He doesn't even see anybody, though.
Well, some people aren't into sex. Some people aren't into sex with people. Okay.
Well, so
you never know.
The hand can be happy.
He may have a very satisfying love life with his hand.
Buys a nice trinkets.
He may have an extensive collection of fleshlights.
Or Rolex watches.
Or Rolex watches. Or whatever.
Oh, did you see that thing of our college friend? I mean, not college, high school. I showed you. We talked about last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. I was watching it with Fish Woman. She thought the guy was interesting because he was half Japanese, right? And so watch it. Oh, he's built. I mean, because he is 6-time Mr. Natural Olympia or something. But we're watching. He said, and it was that one where he's doing his final pose off to like fucking Usher, who is also a creepy guy too. He's a creepy guy with herpes. You know that, right? You heard about that, right?
Oh, have you? Forget it. Have you read anything on Jim Carrey and the girlfriend that was married that committed suicide and left this long note, and then the husband figures out that she'd been cheating on him with this guy and blah blah blah. All salacious accusations of taking to debaucherous parties where just all sorts of STDs were swapped back and forth. It's like...
Jim Carrey?
Yeah. So it's like... So in my head I'm going, let me get this straight. So it's Eyes Wide Shut with Jim Carrey.
Shit.
Sounds kind of fun, actually.
So, people have dark sides, I guess. Oh, but I was saying about the bodybuilder guy. And... certain like that, they get off on themselves, and pretend like our Japanese friend. He stroked off to himself in the mirror, like, because the music choice.
That worked up about the way you look.
I mean, bodybuilders love that shit. I was watching this one on this Vice video about steroid use, and I hear even from the bodybuilders, don't get into it, don't get into it. But then they talk about it for themselves, and it's like the best thing that ever happens to them.
Well, it's because they need it to get big. Okay, and that's
But the thing, they like people watching them and look at them, because even
well, not all of them, because you've even got the strongman competitors and the fucking weightlifter types. They'll still fucking juice.
I mean, some of it is for performance, but I'm talking the ones that are into the
cutting and
and so it's a specimen. It's the look thing.
It's not a power thing. It's a look thing. Yeah.
Or an athletic thing. I mean, it's athletic to push that fucking weight around, but man, it's more like you're creating this sculpture, and I think people, I mean, they there's that one that the clean body style with no tattoos, and then you get those ones like Rich Piana who just they become this character.
Yeah, that's kind of gross, dude. I don't know.
It is.
I was into the whole bodybuilding thing as a kid.
Athleticism, though.
Because it was a strength and thing, a weightlifting thing, and I was kind of a Arnold fanboy. Beyond that, yeah, I saw it for what it was. It was just people obsessed with their bodies.
With Arnold, I was sort of I guess you call it a fanboy. I liked his movies, and yesterday, exactly within 24, like last night, I was watching clips from Terminator, like the gun store scene. Yeah. And the gun store scene and like the police station scene. It's like, yeah, go off, Arnold.
Yeah, you can make a direct correlation between Arnold movies and spree shooters.
I told you about my dumb cousin, right? Mm-hmm. Who jumped off he identified with Rambo. He was a Rambo fanboy. Fucked up his ankle, jumping off the roof. First blood.
First blood. I'm old enough to remember when people fantasized about Red Dawn.
Oh. It was the Red Dawn people were also into those like we've talked about on the show, Ninja 3, The Domination, and all that kind of crap. Shokusugi. Actually, he's a politician, I heard, in Japan. You know the guy who played the Japanese ninja? Yeah. He's usually the good ninja. Uh-huh. Who's usually...
Well, you know what? I mean, that's kind of an expected thing with people in media now. You're going to get into politics. It kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's a famous Funaki. I don't know if he's been around the wrestling scene forever. Uh-huh. I mean, he's coached like... in the back day, I mean, professional wrestling, even that fake shit, but a lot of those people can make the transition to like real fighting, like Brock Lesnar tore it up.
Brock Lesnar was a monster, though.
Yeah, but he can kick
at the collegiate level, he was a monster.
Yes.
He's legit, dude. It's like...
Totally legit. But there's this guy who's been in the scene, he's an old guy, his name's Funaki, and he's like, he's been as high as like governor of a certain like Kyoto or something. And professional, well, I guess we have Jeff C. Ventura.
You know what though? Speaking of wrestling, I never appreciated it for what it was until lately.
The story of the athleticism. Because I've caught on to the athleticism. I don't buy into the story. It wasn't necessarily
the athleticism. It was kind of the circus atmosphere and showmanship of it. I was watching old YouTube stuff.
Oh, I mean, like Savage. Or even have you read like the old Rhodes brothers? Like even old school
it's
shit.
Like, it's basically a circus act,
Well, a lot of it was.
And some of the stuff is just like, whoa.
There was like, do realize there's still backyard wrestling, right?
But see, for me, I always had a resentment for it because I wrestled in high school, I wrestled in college, I took it seriously, and it really pissed me off when
that these good wrestlers
equated it to
real wrestling.
That.
But you know, a lot of the fucking people who were doing that wrestling were badass wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
Did it since childhood. They just had to make money on it, and that was the money maker. Because what was outside of the Olympics in the 70s or like college? It's like you can't wrestle in some barnyard and expect to get some money.
Right.
So, because a lot of these people, the old schoolers, they were some straight out fucking badass that studied Greco-Roman wrestling or did some, you know, some of these old white dudes were like judo black belts even. They go to Japan to wrestle. Because Japan's been having, you know, martial arts kind of shit forever as well.
I like anything where you roll around with another guy.
Have you seen wrestling where you get in olive oil in those leather pants and you can put your hand on their backside?
Here's the thing, though. As a wrestler, I would always cup somebody's genitalia to creep them out.
People don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. But back then, dude, high school kids, oh my god. Okay. Especially when you're talking about, you know, where most of the See, I came from North Carolina when I came here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So,
we're at 11 minutes. Corn just finished that
totally
thought.
different deal over there. Over here, most of the guys that were in the wrestling team were just there to keep in shape, you know, between football and next season.
Yes.
And so you had a lot of guys that really didn't know how to wrestle, that just knew how to bulldog people. And once you get into close quarters with them, make them uncomfortable, then you slip something into, and you win.
Yeah.
That's basically it, man.
Another thing you can do is also like just tire them and just let them
write it out.
Write it out and then go like a snake. Make
it hard for them to breathe. Write it out. You know, put pressure on their chest or their neck and write it out.
Yeah, make them tired.
You don't have to beat them. You don't have to put them into submission hold.
This episode is called Submission, and we'll be right back to you in
the body press.
In the 30, body press, bed. What was that? Bed hover.
Bed hover.